All right, we are live for a Thursday edition of the People's Talk Show, late night. And I thought I would just come on because I was thumbing through the news and couldn't help myself. And so I put together a little artwork. So as you guys can see over my shoulders here, I know it's wrong, but I couldn't help myself. So I thought I would just put together some artwork, come online and see who's available to hang out this evening and just share with you all the headlines that's caught my attention. Of course, I'm sure it's yours as well, because I'm noticing so many commentators in alternative media space talking about the petrodollar, petro yuan, the Brics, and I'm like, man, like everything I've been doing for the last several years is it's right here now. So it's different to see things unfold, and on top of all the distractions being thrown our way to keep our attention from looking at what's happening to this instrument right here. But I hope everyone's doing well. As always, any first-time viewers typically try to stream at like 9:30, 9 o'clock, but today got started a little late. I wasn't planning on doing a stream, but here I am. So I'm glad to have you guys hang out with me and let me know if you have any first-time viewers in the chat, as well as any returning visitors. I'd love to acknowledge your presence. And I end up pulling up all the headlines that I've seen throughout the day or last couple of days, because this week seems to be an interesting week on the global front. The world is really divided, in a major way. And at the center of that happens to be the monetary system. So it's literally the clash of the world order, or at least that's what the way it's being painted to the public. And so I had a great interview today from someone in Moscow who offers a much more enhanced viewpoint of what's really going on from that perspective there. And just going down the rabbit holes with him, it was very interesting. So working on editing that and getting it out. So definitely something you guys will enjoy. Hopefully you guys, as always, the goal when I make these videos is so people can share them, so people can get an alternative spin on what's really happening. So anyway, so let me jump in, man. As always, for those who are plugged in, if you haven't, hit the thumbs up button and hit that share button as well. Hopefully more people are able to plug in. Might not go long tonight. I'll try to just run through these headlines real quick and then open up the phone line, see what you guys are thinking. Of course, Trump's indictment, tonight, and possibly him being picked up next week and all that stuff. I mean, it's the political charades is one thing, but at the core essence of everything, if people really knew what was at stake, everything they worked hard for, everything that they have pretty much poured themselves into, that results in some type of pay or some type of monetary unit, is changing right now. So okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome. As always, if you guys have not connect with RTD on all these alternative platforms here, and stay in tune with what's going on. And if you are interested in being a blessing to the channel, consider helping out in any of these forms here. As far as contributions, anything is appreciated. So wanted to get that out the way. All right, let me check into the chat real quick, and then we'll jump right into headlines and open up the phone line, see where it takes us tonight. So tomorrow, 11:30, Mike and Mario, we're going to definitely talk about all these things as well. So it's going to be an interesting day. And then I got some other videos I'm trying to work on as well. So kind of backed up a little bit. But anyway, we got Mark checking in, and for Wiki checking in. We got Jordan, Rolf checking in, Yagi1, Daryl checking in, Tony B says all noise. Yeah, but it's very entertaining. And while the monetary stuff might be noise as well, definitely a lot of contracts and memorandums are being signed, and the dollar ain't the primary unit that they're being signed for. So, that right there cannot be denied. And I think all the noise we're going to hear, it has everything to do with trying to make sure people don't pay attention to what's going on over there. All right, Jay checking in. We got 12 checking in. Daryl, appreciate you, man. What else we got here? Okay, sure. Supernatural fart spread. Okay, sounds good there. Says, have you heard about the UN resolution voted yesterday for climate justice and asking legal opinion from the International Court of Justice? Man, I haven't even heard about that. That's just another subject to check into. Appreciate you, man. All right, so let's get going, man. I got some headlines I want to try to get to, and I'm sure by now a lot of people, especially people in the alternative media space, you've been keeping an eye on the monetary system and all the things to do with that, on top of the geopolitics and the political charades that's going on. And we got what else? We got the Restrict Act for TikTok, which is really a Trojan horse. We got all that stuff. So, it's more than enough stuff to keep you entertained. It's enough stuff to really make you go crazy if you go too hard. But all right, let's just go. Let me see here. Okay, let me just start off here. So, reason why I decided to stream is just because I was, trying to put together this little artwork here, and I came across something that, and so above my head here, as it says, the Brics on one side and then the pricks on the other side. So I couldn't help myself. So I had to put something together to represent what I believe these initial bricks and pricks, which I grabbed from somebody else, is meant to represent. But in the dab center of that, you can see the earth divided. And that's kind of what's happening right now. And of course, as I mentioned, USD, the petrodollar system, is at the heart of it as things move beyond the global order and establishment. So we're going to see how all this develops in real time. So anyway, so I thought I would just put that together. That was very fun. Hopefully you guys find it fun as well. Hope I don't offend anybody, or I think people be very sensitive these days. All right, so let me close some windows and then I'll jump right in. So, okay, so what led to this live stream, as I mentioned, was I came across this tweet, and I tried to go find some additional information on it. Couldn't find it, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's legit, just because I know between now and in August with the Brics meeting, there's going to be a lot of chit chatter, a lot of things unfolding, more false flags on our side. I mean, the West side, to try to keep up and cover up activity just happening over there. Okay, sure, but this is from. I see a couple people reshare this, but if you guys look over here, top right portion of the screen, you can see, I'll read it to you as well. But it says here, South African foreign minister, and it says requests to join the BRICS groups were submitted by Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Algeria, Argentina, Mexico, Nigeria. And so those are 7 nations, of which Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, and Argentina and Algeria we already knew about, and maybe even Nigeria. But a lot of people were saying, is Mexico really putting their putting their hat in the mix, trying to get a part of a piece of the pie? So according to this source here, Mexico is included. And so I haven't been able to find a official source or any type of links pointing back to the foreign minister of South Africa, but it wouldn't surprise me if more nations decide to go that way, just because, free trade, equality, chance to actually use their currency or tokenized assets to establish trust. I think a lot of people will be open to considering that. So wouldn't surprise me one bit, but we'll see how it plays out. And on top of this image here, somebody posted this here. And so that's how I grabbed the Brics and then the pricks and just turned it into a little something to play off of. So this is how this whole live stream started in reference to the divide between the East and the West, the Brics versus the pricks. So hopefully you guys find that funny. Okay, real quick, I'm going to go through a bunch of headlines here, just some things that caught my attention. I shared some on Telegraph, but a lot of the other things are just stuff that's just unfolded as of last day or two. But a lot of deals being signed, a lot of partnerships, alliances being formed and strengthened, while the West is further being pushed away. It's obvious the sanctions ain't working because all these other nations have decided to do business with China, but yet China is Russia's head numero uno buddy. So it's good to say that they're all in bed together trying to do something big. So, okay, real quick here. So here's just something here. Make of it what you may. This is from chinaorg.cn. But just the headline caught my attention. I was just, looking for BRICS information as well as China information and all the deals in between. But here we have South Africa expects more benefits from BRICS cooperation. And then they go home to list some of the key things that's going to be assumably mentioned in the next couple of meetings. And so it talks about basically exporting and free trade and all types of connecting their economies, whether it be through like research, technology usage, trade, partnerships, nuclear deal. I mean, it's just the amount of agreements that are being worked out right now to really bolster growth within these economies due to all of these nations offering something of substance in the form of resources, commodities. And so if you can bring something to the table, it's good to say the BRICS organization will definitely be willing to work with you to bring you in the fold. And once again, the West not really bringing much to the table, but debt and war, and false flags and all the entities we put together. But anyway, so there's just some more information there. Brics now the voice of South-South cooperation. I thought that was interesting. But basically just saying how the Brics is leading the forefront and being the spokesman for a lot of these emerging economies that are trying to partner with them. And all the countries I mentioned earlier, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're already a part of the new development bank, which is the Brics, World Bank subsidy, World Bank counter. And so that's kind of like an automatic inclusion once you're incorporated into that bank that allows you to get loans and things of that nature in dollars or whatever currencies you might need. And so just something there. Okay, here, more headlines here. It says Brazil would like to see Argentina join the Brics, the foreign minister says. And so we know Brazil and Argentina, rumors they're working on a southern currency. We'll see, but just a lot of negotiating, a lot of deals right now, a lot of talk and chatter outside of the world reserve currency. So it's premature right now, but then again, all it takes is a couple more of these deals and handshakes to take place, and the dollar has a little pressure on it. It says BRIC nations offer a new world order as alternative to the West. So once again, new world order. There's nothing good, whether it be from the BRICS or the PRICS, about a new world order, because ultimately speaking, they're all working towards the same agenda. They all have this central bank digital currency in the works one way or another, whether it's immediate or to be rolled out in the future. And then also you have, especially the BRICS in China, like China, their whole surveillance state is nothing about freedom, liberty. There's nothing that the U.S. would want to mimic from that order. And so I'd imagine the same thing in Russia. These cats are, Putin and Xi have extended terms to their presidency, which means they're going to be they're going to be around a lot longer than Biden, as well as this current Congress we have now. So they're going to see this thing all the way through. And so nothing about our new world order that really is of interest to anybody. There's no winners for the people, put it like that. All right, couple more here. We have Egypt joins the BRICS new development bank. So as I just mentioned, that they're locked in step. They need funds. They need help. They've been strangled by the dollar. And then this is something that's very interesting as well. I think I mentioned this before, but this is a newer story. But just real quick, read the headline. It says the Arctic continues to attract interest of the BRICS and the SCO countries as a space for cooperation. So once again, if you look at the image that they give us about the Arctics, it's amazing how, there's not much territory available. But then again, how do you have all these, the SCOs, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is the Asian nations, ones connected to China. So that's, 8 or 9 or 10 countries. What type of partnerships or what type of deals or developments are they going to have in that region? Just something to be keeping an eye on, just because, will we find out some things that we weren't supposed to know? Ain't no telling. Okay, here's something. The old world order for crude oil is disappearing. And this plays on Saudi Arabia's recent deal with China in the yuan, basically between those two countries, by the yuan being the staple point or being the center of that deal. That pretty much gives it the label of the petro yuan. And so the petro yuan is official amongst those two nations, which happen to be the being the head of the OPEC. And so it's good to say not too much longer after this deal's done, the entire OPEC will eventually incorporate the yuan as an alternative to the dollar, giving people a choice to use the dollar or the petro yuan. And so we got the clash of the petro yuan and the petro dollar. And so here's the next article that was interesting. It says petro yuan or petro BRICS, the need for better alternative reserve currencies to break the dollar dominance. And so just, this is I guess from Forbes India. And so just the words BRICS and dollar and petro yuan, and it's just, those are buzzwords that we're going to hear a lot more of. and it's premature now. It's noise until something happens. But on their end, they seem to be very serious on trying to push forward with their agenda of making it a multipolar world rather than a unipolar world, all centered around the dollar. But it says here the dominance of the US dollar has been causing increasing problems for economies around the world. As a result, there is growing undercurrent of interest in finding alternative reserve currencies. China is pushing for the yuan to become a reserve currency, but a possible Brics plus central bank digital currency may have the edge. Brics plus central bank digital currency, that doesn't sound too appealing for the people, but then again, that's what they're working on. Anyway, keep it moving. Key Asian bloc looking to dump dollar and the euro. So the Asian, ASEAN, Economic Union, reportedly wants to protect transactions from, quote, possible geopolitical repercussions, meaning they're buddy-buddy with all the deals with SCO, with Russia, the Eurasian Pact, and they don't want to have their funds of any kind frozen or be sanctioned. So why even bother? Let's just utilize our own currencies. How about that? So this is pretty debil. This is 10 countries, 10 smaller countries. But then again, 10 is big enough because as of right now, the West will not be able to sanction that entire region because they don't work. Okay, a couple more articles here. It says why Saudi Arabia is following Iran to join China and Russia's security bloc. And so I remember years ago talking about everything is predicated on what Saudi Arabia does. And as of now, I'm sure we all can agree Saudi Arabia, between Xi, Putin, him visiting there, they visited him, getting the red carpet rolled out, all the contracts signed, the petro yuan between these two. They have plans well beyond what we'll find out in the short term. But 5-10 years from now, it's going to be obvious what was going on at this current moment. But it takes time for things to roll through. But Saudi Arabia, the moment that they allowed an alternative for payment in oil to come about with the yuan, and of course, they were doing things well beyond now. They were doing stuff with the ruble, I'm sure, but yet making it public. It's a game changer. And then last one here, China, Brazil strikes deal to ditch the dollar for trade. That's from Barron. So China and Brazil strike deal to ditch the dollar. So dollar. That's all we hear about. Now, is it worth anything? We'll see. But in the meantime, the West, they got a lot of work to do. They got to stay busy because they're gonna need more events, more false flags. And what better way to really get the people wired up other than Trump? Trump gets indicted, and what else? They got transgender giving kids lap dances in class now, and anything that's crazy originates from the master deceiver himself. Okay, anyway, that's enough of me ranting, man. Let's get to some phone calls. Let me hear what you guys have to say. The good, the bad, the ugly. Feel free to have at it. Let me get some stuff here, and then we can definitely love to hear from you guys. So before I do that, make sure I got to give us some props to four Patriots for blessing the channel and supporting you guys to be able to put something in your hands. So listen to this and then call in with your questions, and we'll see what we can do tonight. Did you know that China is hoarding a massive amount of food? They will soon have over 2/3 of the globe's corn reserves, over half of its rice, and over half of its wheat. But when asked about it, China lies. So what does China know that we don't? China is the world's #1 importer, relying on the rest of the world to keep their people fed. This makes them the canary in the coal mine when it comes to global food shortages. As Americans, we need to be prepared for potential food shortages. That's where 4Patriots Survival Food comes in. Their kits are compact, stackable, and have received a 5-star review for their flavor and taste. And right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by using code RTD at checkout at 4patriots.com. Don't wait. Prepare today. Once again, use code RTD at 4patriots.com and save 10% on your first purchase. All right. There you have it. Hopefully, you guys are taking advantage of the opportunities. And let's talk. So feel free to throw out thoughts, ideas, suggestions, whatever you guys want to touch on, whatever other subjects are out there. This is the People's Talk Show. So let's talk about it, because you guys definitely keep me on my toes. Because over the last week or so, my vision has been very narrowly focused on the monetary side. So I haven't followed much in the political sense or anything like that. So, but anyway, what else we got here? So feel free to throw out some thoughts, ideas, suggestions in the chat, or give me a call. We can talk. It says war. What is it good for? How do you know the crimes of the last 10 years? How do you know the crimes of the last 10 years? Interesting point there, Ed. What do you mean by that? How do you know all the crimes? I just think about like how much activity is happening right now amongst those three-letter agencies. You know, they're I'm assuming they're probably extremely busy between, and I don't say staged, but there's just too many coincidences going on, bad events, unfortunately, like, school shootings and all those activities where there's lives lost, damage done to property, eminent domain on areas where toxic spills took place and they taking people's homes and all that stuff, man. Like, there's when you got government funding into these agencies and into these pay organizations and NGOs that are literally their job is to cause chaos and havoc. Like, I have no doubt that a lot of these accidents we're seeing are sparked by or triggered by or being done by paid operatives. And then, of course, they like to say, guns, we got to get rid of guns. Okay, like, okay, so, but you see, like, everything that the media focuses on primarily, there's an agenda behind it. And you have to ask yourself, on the other side of that, what are they trying to accomplish? And more than likely, it's to strip something away from us and then position themselves as the savior or the hope that we need to overcome this crisis, like the weather. Like, okay. Anyway, just so much stuff, man. Yeah. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment in the alternative media realm. All right, let's talk. Let me see what we got here. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Andrew Cole. I'm from Nevada.
Ander, what's going on, my friend? What's on your mind?
Okay, I just wanted to report. I know, I'm a media watcher on all this stuff on channels, but
oh, give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry. Go ahead now. I'm sorry. I lost my volume.
Okay. Last night I heard on YouTube a video. It was trying to think of what it was, but if you Google it, you'll see that all the parks in the next day or two, they're going to change the monetary system. They won't accept cash.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to be credit cards. For any of the parks, the museums, for any of the national parks or parking in any of them, that you go to, they won't take cash.
Where's this at? Where's this at?
I seen it on YouTube last night. It was I'm trying to think of let me open up. I'm watching your show too.
Okay.
I watch so many shows. I'm trying to find out. I'm going to tell you. If I'm opening it up, I'll see the name of it. I watch him a lot. He brings up a lot of stuff all the time. I'm trying to see where his name is at. If you look it up, you'll see it probably. I just can't. I'm looking through my videos right now to see what the name of this thing is. He comes on, but he mentioned, he says, no one's talking about in the media. He said the monetary system is going to change in the next 3 days.
Yeah, okay. I saw something about 3 days. I saw something about changing 3 days.
Yesterday.
Yeah, in 3 days. And so what was his
all the parks,
I mean,
in the museums, they're not going to accept cash.
Okay.
They're trying to get rid of cash. That's what he was saying. And he's surprised that no one's really reporting about this, except, what we hear, on the alternate media.
Yeah. So
in there. So I just want to let you know, so you can tell your listeners too. I'm looking through here. I can't think of the name of it right now. I watch him a lot though. He's very good on stuff on YouTube. He has a lot of stuff comes on. But he was just saying about all that they're trying to get rid of the dollar, and this is how they're going to start.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. So I would.
You'll find something on it.
Yeah, I would dive in. I did see some headlines, but I didn't dive any further because I didn't figure what event it was. It was going to be the trigger that. But
you're reporting. I'm listening to about 10, 15 videos a day. I need surgery, so I can't work.
Yeah.
And so I'm just watching videos on all this, what's going on. And so it's pretty hard for someone like you, unless someone tells you about it.
Right. Yeah. I follow my favorites as well, but it's hard to create and watch at the same time. So.
Right. You got more.
Redacted.
I got more free time than you, so I'm listening to a lot of stuff, man. You wouldn't believe what I'm listening to.
It's okay.
Like I heard also, Steve Von Meter was saying you're going to restrict bank accounts. They want to restrict bank accounts. I'm going to watch his video. He has one here where they want to lock down your money. And this is Stephen Van Meter,
Yeah.
MET RE, he's on. He just did. He's talking all about it. So they're going to restrict also our bank accounts and for us taking money out. And also, I've also just seen, like you said, another wave of bank failures are happening again too.
So
I just seen that too.
Yeah. So what I have here, so people in the community, it's redacted, and it's in 3 days. Everything changes for the US dollar. So I got the video on the screen right here. So I saw the headline. I didn't watch it, but I'll check it out and find out what he's talking about, though. But appreciate you calling, my friend.
Report it to people, let them know. I mean, it's just I have been taking money out of my Schwab account. I got a little bit more, but they did limit my withdrawals to $1,000.
Yeah.
And if I call them, they ask me all kinds of questions too.
Yeah.
But I've taken it out slowly as long as they let me. I don't have a whole lot in there.
Yeah.
I had to write a big check for the IRS, but I know what it's going to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you watch them, you'll get some information.
Appreciate it.
Report on.
Thanks for calling. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, I did see the headline. So I will definitely listen to it. And so it's one of the things like, when people give like definite times, like, tomorrow at 2 p.m., it's like, like, how are you privy to that information? Of course, other than trying to put together pieces to come up with a time frame, that's different. But to say 3 days, we'll see. But, at some point, somebody's going to be right with all these predictions. I just try to stay away from it because at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. Everything that matters is already unfolding in reference to the great divide of this planet and the political sphere, and soon to be the chaos from this, the backlash. This watch and so I saw a tweet. It said that all New York police officers all uniformed cops must be on duty tomorrow or something like that. It was from a news source, a big news source. And I'm thinking like, okay, so what are they anticipating? Like there's going to be some Trump supporters out there with guns and knives for protesting. If you put them in handcuffs, like, it's going to be the same people that were, standing outside the Capitol with, military uniforms on underneath their clothes, talk about some Trump. Come on now. One of the 3 agencies is going to be out there strong, causing chaos, and they're going to have MAGA hats on. Come on now. Like at this point, people should realize, don't run to nothing that they are deliberately setting up because they're trying to stir up your emotions. Focus on your paper. Focus on the paper game. Inform people about the importance of losing all their life savings in this picture raise game that's underway. That's what people should be focusing on. Let's take back our currency out of their system and establish something more sound so we don't have to worry about them anymore. Anyway, I don't know. I might be considered a radicalist, a mild radicalist. Anyway, hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Mike.
Tony, what's up, my friend? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. One more again. Let's try it.
Yes, sir. What's up? Give me something quick. Go ahead.
I love hearing from Pat yesterday, man. It's been a while since I heard that dude, man.
And McCaptain.
Yeah, him and Captain. But I just want to push back a little bit and find out who owns the U.S. dollar.
Who owns it?
Yeah.
You tell me who owns it.
Allegedly, it's the Federal Reserve. And how do they own the dollar? Just by creating, securities, purchasing securities.
Right.
That's not owning the dollar. To me, that's not owning the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they're purchasing securities, how do they control it? Because the dollar is a currency that is controlled by supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
So really nobody is owning the dollar. It's supply and demand controlling the dollar.
Right.
And the Fed is jawbone behind it.
Yeah. Now
so we need to take it for what it is. It's not that China and all these other Brics countries are getting rid of the dollars. It's they can't get enough dollars. So what do we do? What's the alternative?
Right. So like the fact that they can't get enough because of the the withholding of excess dollars that the world needs with this QT stuff, supposedly. Isn't that more of a reason why like it should be time to look for alternatives amongst, like we're bordering countries. Why are we still concerned about getting dollars and that's on the other side of the planet when we're right here? Why can't we work this out in another way? You know what I'm saying? Amongst ourselves without having to use the dollar.
Right. The thing that helped me understand what the hell is going on is the fact that I need to take the Federal Reserve out of the equation because what they do is always behind behind what happens. It's like the guard. She's talking how, we got plenty of things. We're never going to let this happen to us, Canada. Yeah. We're never going to let this happen to us. But you don't stop it before it happens. Right. You always come in behind the scenes.
Oh, don't you think that's intentional though? Don't you think that's intentional? The goal isn't to stop anything. Like, I mean, I think naturally, because the monetary base has to expand in some capacity, they can't stop it, because if they stop it, they put handcuffs on themselves. Like, they can't get ahead of the crises just because they're reactive instead of being proactive, as always, as you're mentioning.
No, if you can be proactive, you can stop a lot of things.
Right. You think they want to stop some things? Like, naturally want to stop this transition from happening?
Everybody thinks the money system is an easy system to rearrange and shake up and go to another system. It is so hard to do that. Mm-hmm. So hard. You just got to look at the ins and outs of the dollar, and then you got to create it for everybody. It's not just a one-off. It's not just a 5 or 6 country thing. You got to have enough dollars, or enough. I ain't gonna say dollars, but you got to have enough circulation for everybody to be involved with it, and there's just no other alternative. If you put all the Brics GDP together, mm-hmm. it doesn't even come close to what the U.S. does, and China's not trying to do that.
Right.
China knows. Let me ask you. You the central bank, and you see what happens to the dollar, mm-hmm. and you the world reserve currency, mm-hmm. and you China. You want that to happen to your country? I wouldn't.
Right, but that's true. But I think it's not necessarily about one single country. Like, I don't think Russia trusts China to allow them to have that privilege. I don't think India damn sure don't trust China. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think none of them really trust each other to give single control of a currency to one nation. That's why I think the whole Brics collaboration is about partnership and just some type of way of establishing trust, whatever that is. I don't know, but they didn't get all that damn gold for nothing. They're going to use it in some capacity in the future. So I think it's more about unifying countries with trust.
I have to push back on that. They got that gold in order to pay for that debt, because it's a tier 1 asset. It has to.
Who created the debt though? Who created the debt?
To pay your bills. That's why you get the gold.
Right, but who created that debt though? What is the debt? The debt is the currency itself. So the central banks in themselves are already insolvent, and the best way to
whatever you buy the product in is the debt that's created. And if you buy it in dollars, then you have to give it back in dollars. If you buy it in yuan, you have to give it back, and you have to settle it in yuan. It's not like everything that gets transferred through gets settled in dollars.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, and all China's doing, from my knowledge and what I see and what I've read up on, is that they're just trying to create something to ease the pain of the dollar. The dollar isn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. They can't, because there's no other alternative.
No doubt. Yeah, the USD is going to be here, just like the British pound is still here after its reserve status. It's no doubt it's going to be here. It's just how it's used and the level of importance it has in the overall backing of international trade. That's the part that's going to eventually change slowly but surely, because the pound is still here. It's 100 plus 200, 300 years. It's the oldest currency still alive, but it's no longer the primary medium of exchange for oil. It's definitely being used for oil and all types of other goods, because it doesn't have that status no more. And at some point, the USD will lose that status as well, or it'll share it with something else.
Okay, so you're talking about canceling out number 2, because that's what we are.
We're not. We're number 1 right now, but at some point in the future,
Brazil's number 1.
Who?
Brazil's number 1. We're number 2.
Oh, for what?
Than we do.
For what? We talk about number 1, number 2 for what?
Number 2 in purchasing goods from China.
I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. But you tell me that one.
Well, I may be wrong, but you can do the research.
Yeah. All right.
So it's just a matter of who is in charge of what. The U.S. isn't in charge of the dollar. The dollar is in charge of itself through the purchase of supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's just the country that it came out of.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you, man.
And then you're talking, how many trillions over in Europe that they can't even control. We don't control the dollar over in Europe.
Yeah, that's very true.
Euro, we don't control the euro dollar.
Very true. So that can extend the lifeline of the quote unquote USD a lot longer. So, but then again, it's all good until it's not. So I think as this stuff blows through, as the world shifts, there will be alternatives, and that's what I think it's all about. Not replacing, because you're not going to replace it, as you mentioned. It's about providing alternatives so people can choose what they prefer to use and what's in their best interest to use more so. But But hey, man, let me get some more calls in. I appreciate you, man, as always.
Brother, I appreciate you that too.
All right, be good, my friend. I will.
All right, bye.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, here we have, remember last year doing one of the little press conferences or interviews that, Jerome Powell mentioned that, there's room for multiple reserve currency. So when he mentioned that, I'm thinking like, is that an admission that there's something else coming, or they would be willing to accept the idea of alternatives being mentioned? And so I think like this statement here, there's room for multiple reserve currencies. All I've known in my life and our life is the reserve currency being labeled as the petrodollar. It's the oil and dollar agreement with the OPEC nations that gives it its backbone. And now that there's some competition out there with the petro yuan between Saudi and China, could that be that alternative reserve that Jerome Powell is mentioning, or just one? So if he mentioned there's multiple reserves, that means there can be 2, 3, 4 alternatives for payment, depending on your interests and what part of the world you're in and what alliances you're a part of. And so it's my suspicion that 2, 3, 4 years from now or sooner, the Brics nations will only use either a common currency or their local currencies or tokenized assets. And so the interview I had today with Chris Devonshire Ellis, who's in Moscow now, he actually has a consulting company that works with the Belt and Road Initiative companies. And so he was given some information about how China and Iran, or Russia and Iran, I'm sorry, they have some memorandums of agreements and things of that nature. And he said that Russia doesn't want the Iranian rial at all, but they will accept gold. And so they're working on a common digital currency that gold is this backbone of that, because they'll accept the tokenized gold, but they won't accept the rial. And so I'm thinking that more agreements like that will be made. If your currency is not worth anything to us because it's just not, worth anything anymore, such as like the Turkish lira, any of those emerging economies where like, Nigeria, nobody wants the Naira, you know what I'm saying? But we will take some oil or gold. Then we can do business. Then we can, we'll help you with your infrastructure and nuclear power and this and that, whatever. But you ain't gonna pay us in that damn currency. You're gonna give us gold. And we're gonna settle this on a blockchain of some kind between our countries. So I think that's the payment network that's already operational right now. And so it's small, doesn't get talked about much, but it's gonna be big. And so we'll see. All right, people, we had 38 minutes. It is almost 11. I apologize for cutting it short, but I got started late. I just want to come on, give you all these headlines just because I haven't paid attention to all this dollar activity. It's hard to keep up with it. So figure I just put it all together, share my 2 cents. And of course, you guys are keeping your eyes on things as well. And so we'll be back at it tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Mike and Mario, I'm sure we're going to touch on this plus everything in between. So come back then and join us live and get your questions, thoughts, ideas out there, and we'll have some fun with it. But anyway, my good people, I appreciate you for blessing me with your presence. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button, show some love for the channel. And definitely if you hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when we do go live. And of course, the goal is to get more people to call in and share their thoughts and ideas and expertise so we can navigate and filter through the noise as it comes our way. So anyway, good people, be blessed, be safe. I will see you tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Don't be late.